What's going on, tribe? Sebastian here. Today I'm going to go over 5 reasons why your Amazon PPC campaigns are failing and what you can do today if you want in order to optimize these campaigns and turn them into profitable money-making machines. But first, if this is your first time watching one of my YouTube videos, consider subscribing to my channel and joining my private Facebook group. That way you never miss an awesome training like this, and turn on your notification bell so you can be the very first to see and implement these new strategies that are working today for Amazon sellers. So reason number 1, your Amazon PPC campaigns are probably underperforming because your market is just oversaturated. Now, the reason why I put this particular one as number 1 was because this is the hardest pill to swallow for some Amazon sellers. Quite frankly, not all products are going to be home runs, and if this is one of your first products and you've done everything in your power to optimize PPC campaigns, maybe you've used software or partnered with a company like ZonRush where we help Amazon sellers manage their PPC campaigns, but still your ACoS has just been a little hard to keep under control, that's probably because there's just too much market saturation. Now, I've recently made a video, which you can check out right here, where I go over how you can use Amazon PPC as a tool and a resource to check and audit your product to see if it's oversaturated. But just to quickly go over it again, basically if your average cost per click is over 10% of your sales price, you can clearly see how it's going to be very hard for you to scale if you're just relying on Amazon PPC alone. It's going to be very expensive, and odds are it'll be a lot cheaper for you to drive external traffic to your listing as opposed to just relying on Amazon PPC alone. And if that doesn't work, then you can just liquidate the inventory that you do have and try again for a new product. All right, so reason number 2 is your photos, they're not professionally taken. And there are a lot of companies that can take your professional photos for you, ZonRush included, but you'd be surprised if you just changing your listing photos to be professionally taken with lifestyle images. So that's also very important. Your listing does need to have lifestyle images. You need to have your customer avatar actually using your product so that way they can see themselves using your product and then they'll buy your product over your competitors. But professional photos are going to say a lot more than any SEO optimization you can do. And that's because visually we're looking for, picture yourself going to a bookstore, for example. You don't know already what the preface and what the introduction is going to be. All you have basically is a brief title and a cover. And odds are the cover is what's actually going to grab your attention first before you read the title and the preface and so on and so forth. And the same thing applies to your listing on the Amazon Marketplace. Your photo needs to grab attention from customers right away, and then they'll go ahead and see, okay, does this product meet the needs that I'm looking for? Does it have the necessary description that describes adequately what I'm looking for? But the photos are so very important, and if you're getting a lot of clicks but not a whole lot of sales, it could be that you need better photos for your listing, which is why I usually recommend sellers, especially brand new sellers, for your main image, you should always have at least 2 main images taken and rotate them. So for the very first 30 days, you'll have 1 main image, and that's the image that customers are going to be seeing with your PPC. And then the second month, you'll use your other main image, and you can split test your conversions, and you'll clearly see a winner. So maybe one has your packaging, and maybe the other doesn't have your packaging, or maybe it's just a better angle or what have you. But it's very important that you split test your main images because that's what customers are going to see, and it's better to have 2 so that way you can, with data, make accurate decisions that will benefit your business for the long term. But photos play a huge part in your success as an Amazon seller. All right, so number 3 is very simple. It's that you have way too many keywords in your campaigns, which is understandable, especially if you're a brand new seller. You see a lot of keywords, especially keywords that are relevant to your product, so you want to add as many as possible because you're trying to optimize the best keywords. But your approach, because remember, Amazon's not a quick fix, immediate cash flow type of business. I mean, there are some instances, but for the most part, it's a marketplace and you're trying to grow a business utilizing Amazon's distribution. And to do that, this takes time. There's a timeline with the sales process. You know, sometimes it takes 3 to 6 months for you to really get sales going. And so if on the first month you have, let's say, over 200 keywords in your campaigns, you're trying to optimize way too early for too many variables. It's better to cut your variables and incrementally feed keywords into your campaigns every 30 days. So your first 30 days, I recommend having no more than 50 keywords. And again, all 50 keywords need to be 100% relevant to your product in order for you to maximize your conversions. And so if you're starting with 50 keywords and slowly you can see, okay, after those first 30 days, you'll clearly see, you know, some keywords might have had way too high of an ACoS, maybe some keywords didn't get enough impressions, so you need to up the bids for those. So at that point, let's say there's about 10 or 15 keywords in there that just ACoS is way too high. Go ahead and remove those keywords or lower the bids. So this is like a 2-in-1 I'm giving you right here. Or lower the bids at least by 50%, because if the keywords are still relevant and you're making sales but the ACoS is too high, it could just mean that there are a lot of sellers competing for that keyword. But if you're still getting sales and you need those sales to boost your keyword ranking, then lower your bid 50% instead of taking them out, and so that way you're not paying top dollar for those keywords. And then the next 30 days, let's say you have a list of those 200 keywords, again, not putting them all in the first month, only 50. Then on the next 30 days, you'll go ahead and take out, let's say, 15 keywords that just were not working at all. And then from your list of 200 keywords, you can put 15 more or 30 more at that point so that way you're always at 50 keywords. And month after month, you're taking out old keywords and you're feeding new keywords into your campaigns. So that's going to keep your campaigns fresh, that's going to keep impressions going, and that's going to usually keep your ACoS down because you're constantly feeding Amazon new variables to work with, and you have fresh keywords flowing in at a manageable rate instead of just having them all thrown in right away and, you know, hoping for the best. It's much easier to incrementally feed keywords into your campaigns so that we can grow strong profitability for the long term. So the next reason is that you're optimizing and you're making edits to your bids and budgets prematurely. So what does that mean? Well, it basically means that you need to give your Amazon PPC campaigns enough time to come into fruition. So think of your campaigns like a plant, for example. You know, you'll put the seed in the ground and you'll water it, but you don't expect by tomorrow, you know, for a full-grown plant or tree to be there, right? You realize it's gonna take time. You need to, you know, nurture the soil, let it get some sunlight, add some water, and over time it'll blossom and come to fruition. Amazon PPC campaigns are exactly the same way. Over the past year, we've really seen at ZonRush, especially with our large clients, that Amazon's algorithm is getting smarter and smarter, especially on the PPC side of things. Now, what's happening is they're starting to give more impressions to campaigns that have been active longer. So over time, you're going to get more and more impressions, and you're going to get, you know, better and better results if you're optimizing the variables correctly. And so let's say, for example, you have one keyword in one of your campaigns. It's a keyword that's 100% relevant, but you get a sale, and let's say ACoS is, I don't know, above 50%, let's say 50 to 100%. So immediately you pause the keyword. Well, what we've seen is that if you do that, even though, let's say, the first few sales have a higher ACoS, especially for brand new campaigns, if you let them run, let's say 30, 60, 90 days at least, let's say you lower the bid a little bit, maybe 20% in 20% increments, we've actually seen that if we were to pause keywords for some of our larger clients with keywords that are 100% relevant, over time, those keywords, the ACoS ended up going to below 10%. Now, it's not always the case, but what happens is the keyword, for one, is vitally important. So it doesn't need to be 100% relevant to your product. But if the first couple sales you see an 80% ACoS, but let's say the third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, the seventh, the eighth sale, let's say since it's still relevant, you just needed a little more momentum to build behind a certain keyword. Usually, if the keyword's 100% relevant and you're adjusting your bids, let's say 10 to 20% below what you started with, generally those keywords become really profitable for you. But you can really hurt your sales velocity if you're pausing keywords too soon because the first sale you got an 80% ACoS. It doesn't mean that the keyword in particular is no good. It just means it takes a little bit more time, get a few more sales. So what I would recommend to make this more palatable for you would be to wait until you have at least 5 sales for keywords that are 100% relevant to your particular product. If you can have at least 5 sales for a particular product, you'll get a strong indication of where the ACoS is going to go. But if you get 1 sale, the ACoS is extremely high, and you edit it or pause it too soon, you don't know that keyword can potentially be a huge moneymaker for you. You just needed to let the engines warm up, so to speak. So that's very important. Don't edit campaigns prematurely, and usually you'll need at least about 7 days worth of data before you can make strong optimizations. So if you're making optimizations more than once a week, you're not giving your campaigns enough data, and you're not seeing enough data in order to make optimal campaign adjustments, so that way you can stay profitable on Amazon. All right, and reason number 5 are utilization of negative keywords. A lot of newer sellers have a hard time identifying negative keywords. So to make it really simple, you do need to have negative keywords in your auto campaigns and your manual campaigns, because you don't want your product to show up for keywords that, again, are not 100% relevant to your product. So for example, if you're selling charcoal teeth whitening powder, a good negative keyword that you would want to add would be paste, mouthwash, brush. As you can see, because you have charcoal teeth whitening powder in a broad phrase or even in an auto campaign, especially in an auto campaign, Amazon will take the liberty to show your product next to brushes, toothpaste, mouthwash. Though it makes a little sense because they're similar, you ideally want to target those types of categories once you already have strong sales coming in from manual keyword campaigns and from campaigns that have keywords with 100% relevancy. So before you move into related niches, make sure you have down your particular keyword niche actually dialed in before you go into those other categories. And if you don't have those as negative keywords in your phrase, broad, and in your auto campaigns, then your odds are you're going to have a lot of wasted ad spend, because customers are going to type in toothpaste and your product is tooth powder and they want an actual paste and not the powder. So relevancy and similar niches you can eventually move into once you have strong sales, just to recap. But until then, make sure you're adding negative keywords to your campaign so that way you don't have any wasted ad spend at all. So if you're still struggling with Amazon PPC and you want to move optimizations off the Amazon platform, consider using my company ZonRush. We're an Amazon product launch service that we utilize Facebook ads to help you rank organically for keywords, which will ultimately feed into your long-term profitability as an Amazon seller. So that will also feed into profitable PPC campaigns, and it'll be usually less expensive if you're just relying on Amazon PPC alone. So we're a strong alternative to help you reach your goals as an Amazon seller. Now, if you want to learn what the perfect Amazon PPC campaign setup is, check out my recent video right here where I show you what one of the most profitable campaign setups you can have, and implement that particular strategy today so that we can start seeing stellar results in your Amazon business. And don't forget, if this is your first time watching one of my YouTube videos, consider subscribing to my channel and joining my private Facebook group where I release exclusive content to my very close-knit tribe. And of course, leave a comment in this video, especially if you're brand new. Introduce yourself. I would love to communicate with Amazon sellers because we're all on the same journey here. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you love this content. And as always, guys, I'll see you on the next video.